Superstorm Sandy was the worst thing that ever happened to me in my entire life.
We knew there were floods. We didn't know exactly how high it was. And so not knowing if we were going to be able to open our doors again, how long it would be, and how people were going to respond to an island that had just been decimated with a storm.
Everything was covered. My first vision of downstairs was our huge freezer full of food floating in the 5.5 feet of water. It was the worst thing that ever happened to us.
We were lucky enough not to be affected too physically. We only lost power for about a week, but the emotional toll on Superstorm Sandy really weighs heavy on everybody.
We didn't have a lot of damage. My awning disappeared out front and a 2x4 came through a window. I had put charging stations all around the bar for people to do their iPhones, and they would sit here all day. They'd have lunch and then they'd hang out through the whole afternoon.
I looked for help in places that I knew. I knew Brookdale had a good reputation, and anything that came out of there was good. The Small Business Development Center is the reason I am still in business.
I met Jackie. I was doing her hair. I was renting in a little space. After I spoke with Jackie, and she gave me all the advice from SBDC. I moved to my own business, to my own space.
I was lucky enough to meet with several fabulous counselors. First I met with Carrie Stakowski. She was a marketing expert. We met several times and she gave me some really important tips on how to get my business out there.
The speaker that night was Mark Wilson, and he said a lot of things that made a lot of sense. If I had been there 30 years earlier, it would have been a big help. But one of the things he told me was where I always felt the most important thing in a restaurant is the food and the service. And he said the most important thing is, number one, the overall experience, from the time they walk in the door till the time they leave.
I worked on the things Bob asked me to work on. I worked on the things Roland asked me to work on, and I did my Facebook page, and we celebrated when I got 25 likes on my Facebook page. Then Mark Wilson came along, and he pulled everything together.
Mark was the main person we worked with, along with Pasqualina. And he basically came in, took a look at our business, just the general flow of how our business dynamic moves, such as having a order here sign, having a pickup here sign, things that help the flow of a business, things that really weren't on my radar. Because wearing so many different hats, it's very hard to pick everything up.
Business owners should come to the Small Development Business Center because sometimes we're alone. When you're an entrepreneur, it always sounds glamorous when they say that word. It means you're alone.
I would recommend SBDC to anybody, and to all my Hispanic community especially, that we need help, especially when we begin a business, for all the service that you guys provide.
If I had not met the group of people I met, I wouldn't still be in business, and I wouldn't still be fighting to stay in business, because they have offered things that help me every step of the way. Just when I get a little tired, there is another program that comes along that gives me hope.